They used to do House of Mouse, but they don't do that anymore.
And House of Mouse was goated. It was great.
Yeah, they haven't even put it on like Disney Plus or anything. They've like locked it up.
haven't?
No, it's like locked up. People have been like begging for that, but they like have not put it on Disney Plus for whatever reason.
So, Ariandel, I think this is the most controversial Disney World in terms of like how the fandom feels on it.
Yes.
It's very split. I like it. I'm on a I like it side.
Okay.
I want to hear what you think first.
I'm not a huge fan of it because I don't think it does a lot. Like, it doesn't do a lot for the overall plot, I don't think, and it also doesn't feel really tied to the movie very much.
You can tell Disney went in there and like cut the script into pieces. You can tell.
Well, that's the theory, is that it was going to be way different and that like Elsa was going to be the villain.
Like in the original movie.
That's what they were going off of, and then they changed that, and so that they had to change the game.
Sora interacts with the characters each maybe like once or twice. It's a lot of they go to the top, they fall down, they go to the top, they fall down. A fucking snowman is your assist in that world. He's okay, but it's like
It's
really
just kind of weird.
It's like having Rex as your it's worse than having Rex as your party member in Toy Box.
Yeah, because it's like no connection to it. It's just kind of like whatever.
And like you're right, like the story happens, but Sora is not a part of the story at all. The perfect example is like the whole Let It Go sequence. Sora's in the background of like not even all of it, 2 scenes, which is like, again, that's clearly Disney being like, this is our moneymaker. Do not fuck this one up. Do not change anything about it. We'll talk about San Francisco. I think that's weaker, but it definitely is worse because of like Disney's influence. It kind of stings a little bit because you kind of feel like Disney has more faith in this series now, especially since after Kingdom Hearts 3. Ariandel kind of makes me afraid of what happens when Disney actually pays attention to Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, it feels like they put more of an emphasis on like protecting Frozen than they did like allowing them to make something cool. It definitely does feel like they started to make that world and then were told they had to chop it up and do something different with it. Because I think if they were going like straight in line with the movie, they could have done something really interesting with like maybe they team you up with Anna, and the first part of that world is you going to find Elsa, and almost in a way of like the way that in Birth by Sleep you're Ventus or Aqua trying to find Terra when you think he's doing all this bad stuff. And you could do that same way where maybe you have an organization member directly trying to influence Elsa in the same way that Zolan tried to influence Beast, and you're trying to catch up to her and be like, why are you doing all this bad stuff? And then you finally get there.
And Larxene's like doesn't interact with them either, because like Zoldan interacted with Beast, Luxord interacts with Jack Sparrow. Larxene does not interact with like Anna or Elsa at all.
Yeah, no, it feels so separated.
Even in the ending, she literally puts a barrier over the original characters so the other characters can do this movie stuff. It's literally like I think it sets a bad precedent for the series going forward. I'm afraid that's what's going to happen when Disney starts paying attention to Kingdom Hearts and being like, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, because these are our moneymaker movies. Because I think Kingdom Hearts worked because it was like Disney's like side project. And they had like 1 or 2 rules of like, the Disney heroes can't meet each other, the villains can, whatever. The villains can do whatever they want. But this is a good example of like, you can't do this, change this, you can't do this, can't do this. It's still an enjoyable world to go through. It's just that thought really sours it.
Yeah, I think it might just be a product of like that movie coming out while they were working on it. So it was kind of like in a weird space.
Coming out.
Yeah, that too. So they just didn't want to mess with that. Versus like most worlds come out well after the movie came out, so it's like kind of doesn't really matter.
It's not gonna fuck up the sales of fucking Nightmare Before Christmas. If anything, it'll improve it. But like because Disney's very afraid of their intellectual properties being muddled in the public eye. Have you noticed that? Because like, you'll never have a commercial where Anna talks to fucking Cinderella or some shit. With like Warner Brothers, right? Okay, perfect example. Cartoon Network. Those like old bumpers of like Johnny Bravo talking to Samurai Jack.
Yeah.
Wasn't that cool?
Yeah. That sounds awesome.
Isn't that like if Peter Pan met Simba? Wouldn't that be cool?
Well, it's like they used to do House of Mouse, but they don't do that anymore.
That's one example of them like, and House of Mouse was goated. It was great.
Yeah, but they haven't even put it on like Disney Plus or anything. They've like locked it up. No, it's like locked up. People have been like begging for that, but they like have not put it on Disney Plus for
That
whatever
might be
reason.
like a new president thing. I don't know.
It could be.
I'm choosing between C and D, honestly, now that I've kind of gotten to the sourness of it. It's still a fun world to go through. Like, it's not a bad world. I'll put in C.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Like,
the nature of the gameplay of 3 like is just so much better anyways.
and it still looks pretty cool with all the snow and stuff. And like that boss fight with the snow wolf, that was a pretty good boss fight, even though it kind of made no sense. San Francisco. This is my least favorite world in Kingdom Hearts 3. It's kind of like Toy Box, where it's very lore important in terms of like data and stuff, and Replica coming. Okay, they were afraid of Frozen being messed up by Kingdom Hearts, right? But Kingdom Hearts literally changes the ending canon of Big Hero 6. Literally.
Oh, yeah?
Because like, have you seen Big Hero 6?
No.
In the end of that movie, Baymax sacrifices himself because they go inside a hole of darkness or whatever. Well, he pulls an Aqua. He gives the kid his suit to blast off outside the hole while he stays. Baymax has like a chip, which is essentially his brain, and
Right.
he puts it into another Baymax body, and that's in the Big Hero 6. But they bring that Baymax back in 3. And for some reason, Hero cares, even though that should just be like a body that should not have a brain in it. It kind of does what I think Disney was afraid with Frozen. It kind of muddles it up to a way I don't enjoy. And plus, it kind of just feels empty.
Yeah, the world on that one is kind of weird because you're in like the garage and then you like teleport out into like the main like city area. It does feel kind of empty.
It feels like a 3D world where it's like just very empty. Really no NPCs for a city. Got to go through the entire city to do different things. Any boss fight's kind of lame, honestly. The thing on a bridge with Sora Roxas remembering his past with the Twilight Town kids, that was kind of cool. But like,
yeah, it doesn't really add much.
Yeah.
And it's kind of placed like towards the end of the game, or it feels like it should be stronger if it's going to be placed there.
Honestly, they get weaker as they go on. Like, it starts with the goat and it ends with Arendelle and San Francisco. The thing is, I'm not sure if I want to put it under Arendelle. Those two constantly switch on which one's my least favorite Kingdom Hearts 3 world, just based off my mood. I think we can be fair and put it, but I don't think it's as fun as Arendelle, to be honest. It's not.
No, yeah, because there's less like room for navigation. You're just kind of there. Everything's just kind of out there.
Yeah, it's more empty. There's less to do. It feels like there's a lot of busy work. Yeah, I'll put in D, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, it's not terrible. It's not like Wonderland bad, but I think the quality of Kingdom Hearts 3 is so high that it doesn't reach it whatsoever.
Yeah, and like a lot of the other worlds, there's so much extra stuff to do. Caribbean, you can ride around the pirate ship. Toy Box, you have the mechs. Like, that one is just kind of like, you're just kind of there.
And in San Francisco, you have parkour.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
You get to do slow motion a little bit. It kind of feels like it should have been a 3D world, to be honest. It might come out after 3D, now that I think about it.
Yeah, it came out after.
Oh, okay. Well, it still does feel like a 3D world.
Yeah, it still feels
how
like that.
empty it is. All right, so that's all the Disney World's done. All right, got through all those. And these should be pretty quick because they're not that extensive.
No.
They're like heavy lore stuff, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the Dark World, Land of Darkness. So really, I'm only counting 2.8 and 3. Because we see it in the other games, but it's kind of like Disney Island to where we don't really engage with it till like those games. Because Aqua's game is in the Realm of Darkness. It has Disney stuff sprinkled in it for lore reasons, but it's still like the Land of Darkness.
Yeah, it still takes place there, yeah.
It's cool. It's just kind of there.
Yeah, it's cool for what it is, but it doesn't really do anything extra with that.
Yeah, like for a world that's mentioned so much, like the Realm of Darkness, it's pretty barren. There's not a lot to do. You got a lot of what are those big fucking things called? It's in every game.
Dark Sides?
Dark Sides. Yeah, a lot of Dark Sides in there.
It's also in like the final episode of Birth by Sleep, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Which kind of like takes place like I think before and after 0.2.
True, but I don't think it adds to it.
But no, it doesn't add that much, but it is also kind of there in a
because
weird
like
way.
in 3, we're only there 2 times for Mickey and Riku, and for Sora, and when Sora gets there. So it's just a boss fight arena in 3.
Yeah, and you're just in that same spot.
2.8 is where we really see it as a world. And it's interesting how like parts of the worlds it absorbs becomes part of it, and like the people get. I think the people either become heartless or go to Traverse Town, which is why it's empty. And how it kind of messes with Aqua's mind in terms of like her isolation, her feeling of time. Because I don't know if she felt the 10 years, or maybe it was like a year to her, or like 100 years to her. I can't really tell how she felt it. She was in there for what she felt was a long time, because she didn't age at all. So I don't know if she could felt the 10 years. Because I don't even know if she slept that whole time. It's a dangerous place to sleep.
Well, yeah, because that 0.2 ends with at the end of Kingdom Hearts, or yeah, at the end of Kingdom Hearts 1. So like, that like entirely takes place over 10 years, I think, unless it just starts at the end of that time period.
Which is weird because the end of 2.8 takes place on Disney Island, which is inside of Dark World.
Yeah.
But so does the end of 1 with Sora's boss fights, but they do leave it to fight the giant ship. So I guess they technically weren't on at the same time. Because, like, 2.8 ended at the very end of 1. Like, I'm pretty sure after they defeat Ansem for the final time.
Yeah, because they line up with Mickey with the Keyblade. It explains why he has no shirt.
We needed that lore drop of, like, why Mickey has no shirt. Yeah, thanks, Nomura. Whatever. Like, out of all the things we want to know about Kingdom Hearts, why Mickey had no shirt in 1, I can sleep at night now.
Yes.
I say C. It's just kind of there.
Yeah, it's just kind of there, and like some lore stuff does happen, but it's nothing crazy like some of the other worlds that are equally small. But you know, like because like in terms of size, I'd probably say it's like kind of equivalent to Destiny Islands in a certain sense. But like that just feels more like Destiny Islands has more going for it.
The stuff at the beach happens there. All the beach stuff. Does that raise it for you at all? Because there's some emotional stuff there with like Ansem talking to Aqua, Xemnas talking to Roxas, Riku talking to Sora. Does that add it to you? Add it for you? It might for me.
Maybe a little bit, but I don't know. I don't necessarily think of it like that, but it is. But it's just not what comes to mind.
The beach feels like its own world, pretty much.
Yeah, it's sort of like that feels connected to wherever you just like finish the game at, or whatever that. You know what I mean?
All right, yeah. So Realm of Darkness sits not at the bottom. Atlantica is worse than Realm of Darkness.
It is. I mean, I'd rather be in there.
Aqua was not swimming this way. She was not dancing and playing in Realm of Darkness. But I think I would rather be Aqua in Realm of Darkness than be Sora in Atlantica.
10 out of 10 times.
All right, Final World.
But not our Final World.
No, because it's got like
Final World TM.
Well, it's heaven or purgatory, I guess. I guess there is no canon heaven in Kingdom Hearts. This is
it.
I don't know if this is a place you go or a place where you're held up when you're because I don't know how death works in Kingdom Hearts because no one's ever really died, as far as we could tell.
Yeah, well, it's like we meet other spirits there, and it's like, what is there? How long have they been here?
Because only one that matters is Naminé and Strelitzia, and Naminé was like, well, I guess Naminé at that point was her own person. I think she was her own person when did Naminé become her own person? Well, when did Roxas become his own person? Because if you're your own person, can you go back to your original body like they did?
Well, Roxas becomes his own person in 3.
So Naminé
gets his own body in 3.
Because when does he have a heart? Because his heart was inside Sora by like the beginning of 3.
That's a question I don't know the answer to because they do that thing where in like Chain of Memories and in 2, they really nail it in 2 where they were like, oh, nobody's don't have hearts or whatever. Mm-hmm. But then, like in the future games, they're like, well, maybe they do.
Well, in 3D, it's like they can regrow hearts.
It's like, are they saying that because some of them have, or some of them in the process of, or can they? I
think by 2, Xemnas, Roxas, and Lee had hearts. Yeah. I think. Well, I saw this theory of why Xemnas has a new costume on his final boss battle, because if you look at Final Form, how that's the same kind of thing, and it represents Sora and Roxas coming back together, because you get that after you fight Roxas and he accepts that he's your nobody.
That's true. Yeah,
he's willing to accept it. He's willing to accept it. So I think it's the same thing of like, because he gets the no heart armor, which is Xehanor's armor, wherever he got that from. So I think he does get it, because he definitely has a heart by 3. I think all the nobodies have hearts by 3, definitely. Everyone, even like Xemnas, because Xemnas is all like, I have a heart, but it still sucks because I'm still a depressed piece of shit. But I think Lee definitely had a heart. I think pretty much when Roxas left, he already had a heart. I think Roxas and Lee Axel helped each other grow a heart. I don't think she had a heart till
the only thing I'm not sure about Roxas though is because like he rejoins with Sora in 2 at the beginning, and then at the end, like Sora and Kairi see like their projection versions of Riku and Naminé. I mean Roxas and Naminé.
Well, we know a heart can go into a heart with like what Ventus. So maybe their hearts weren't complete and they had to go back inside to complete their hearts. Maybe.
Yeah.
Because well, it's already been established with Ventus.
Yeah, but Ventus' heart was like broken.
Well, so was Roxas's because he was developing. Because
Yeah.
Ventus was developing it. Ventus had half of a heart, and Roxas was developing a heart. So he probably only had half a heart. It wasn't as split down the middle between good and light and darkness as Ventus's was, because his was literally split, but it was growing. So I think like Ventus, Sora's heart was an incubator for Roxas's heart and Shion's heart. And I think Kyrie's was for Naminé, but when Kyrie died or was split up, or whatever, Naminé said she went there because Kyrie died.
Yeah,
and Kyrie's heart was split, and we had to rebuild it.
Yeah, I think you're right too, because the whole like throughout the game, they're just talking about like they just need a vessel. Mm-hmm. So it's like the heart would already exist. They just need something to put it in.
But a heart can't exist on its own, or else it either becomes a Heartless or it goes to Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, exactly. So then that's when they finally get the puppets, and then that's when Roxas like crash lands from out the sky, and then Naminé also gets a body.
But I want to guess all of those. I can't even say that, because I want to guess all those stars are from Quadratum, because like at the end of Cross, the dead Keyblade wielders are turned into Dream Eaters.
Yeah,
their hearts are inside Dream Eaters, because a Dream Eater is what happens when a Cherokee absorbs their owner's heart, and they become a Dream Eater to protect the heart inside of them.
Yeah,
but I still think the heart still
reincarnate.
Have we? I don't know if that's true, because we haven't seen reincarnation ever happen.
That's what the player does.
Oh, true. Well, because the player chooses to die. Oh, you're right. I think reincarnation is just like confirmed. Well, it is confirmed in Kingdom Hearts, but I think your mind, body, and soul have to all die at the same time. Then you get sent to the final world, and then you're reincarnated. Kingdom Hearts might be somewhere in there, but who the fuck knows? We still don't know what Kingdom Hearts really is. No, we kind of know what it is. It's light, pure. Kingdom Hearts is like a nuke, pretty much. It will destroy the world. That's what Xehanort wanted.
Yeah, I think it's like the light version of the Dark World.
It's not like Disney Town, where it's like warm and inviting. I think it's as intense, but just the light version. Yes. Because like it's like Ericus became too fixated on a light, where he became violent. So like light doesn't automatically make you good. Anyway, we want a lore fucking
we went on a tangent
diatribe. So Final World in itself, it's short.
It's very short.
Very lore heavy, but very unique. Because like where you gotta get all those Soras. All the worlds flip and turn again. What Wonderland tried to be but could not.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Wonderland. You know what? Wonderland was mentioned so many times, and we kept talking shit about it. Like, I think at this point, it's gotta. That's fair. That's Wonderland's final world.
Yeah.
It's going back to where it belongs.
F for final world. I don't know. It's like it has some interesting lore bits, but. Yeah, you don't do much there.
Out of all the worlds, its lore bits are kind of vague.
Yeah, it's also super vague.
Because we don't know, because even like the Yozora stuff attaches itself to it, but we have no idea how. Is it still part of the quote-unquote real world? Is it connected to the fake world? Is it...
He has like a crossover.
The Daybreak, like, of course it connects to Kingdom Hearts Cross with there's a Cherokee being there. But yeah, I think it's on terms with Dark World, to be honest. In C.
I would say that. Yeah.
Like it has more lore, but again, it has less to do than Dark World, because we didn't spend a whole game in Final World.
Yeah.
All right. Lastly, the Stairway to Heaven, Scala, Ad, Kylum, which got to glow up in Remind, because it wasn't just one big arena.
Yeah, you got to explore it a little bit.
It's a little bit better in Final World in terms of the vagary of its lore. We know that it was built on top of Daybreak Town.
Yep.
We can guess Brain started. No, FMER started it, and Brain was there at the time, because you saw the ending of Cross, right?
Yeah. Where Brain like ends up like in the future or something.
Yeah,
from where they were.
Because he took a pod. The vague. Your heart connects to this thing over here. Kind of like how Maleficent came back, which is still fucking confusing.
Yeah. And there's like the guard, and then he has the statue. There's like the statue of Ephemer, and he like created the town or whatever. Yeah. And like
very connected to to Ericus and Xehanort and their gang. Whenever Dark World becomes a fucking movie, or all the cutscenes are available on YouTube, then we'll
Yeah.
give a fuck about.
Then we'll know.
We don't give a fuck about it now, but and they go to Wonderland, which put that where you will.
Yep.
Wait. They only go to Agrabah and Wonderland, right? So far as we can tell.
I think so. I don't know. I haven't played that game since launch, so
I've never played a game. I just watched cutscenes, and even the cutscenes put me to sleep because I was always like, I don't give a fuck about. Oh, and that's another thing. Like death happens here because like all of his friends,
because all the classmates died,
except for one who's maybe Brig. Brig is here somewhere. Brig has to be part of this.
Well, and
Or Lucio has to be part of this. Was Lucio following around Xehanort the whole time?
Oh, like through all his existences? No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
But he passes the Keyblade down.
But why is it? Does he know the master talked to him? Because why would he pass it down to him?
Well, because it's in the book, I guess.
In the book of prophecy?
I guess so.
But doesn't Lucio make prophecy? Or okay,
Well,
we're getting time loops up here. Okay.
I think it's in a It's in a loop because like the book of prophecies is written because the Keyblade was passed down, so he has to pass the Keyblade down in order for it to be written, but because it's already written, he does.
But is Lucio doing his own thing and causing the book to happen? Like writing the book as he goes? Or is he just creating that time loop of he's following a book, which means it happens, which means it's in the book, which means he does it? That's why you don't fuck with time travel in this shit.
Yeah.
It gets too confusing.
It's very tough.
And you know they're not going to explain it well.
I have no idea, but I'm excited.
I think Lucio's just doing his own thing. I think at some point he just stopped following the master's orders.
Yeah, I think he definitely has his own motive because either he has his own motive or the master is like turning them against each other because...
Well, I don't think Lucio was ever part of the gang when they were... I think Lucio was just his own entity the whole time. He might have like been friends with them, but I think once he gave him his role, he was gone.
But like at the end of 3, when all the foretellers show up, except for Ava, and they're like, yo, where's Ava at? And he's like, oh, she had her own thing going on.
Because it's implied they did fight in Cross. They did.
In back cover, yeah.
I forget. They might have explained what happened to her. I mean, she's Kyrie's grandma, right? Like, it's like Demix's Master of Masters. If it doesn't happen, it's bullshit because we figured it out.
No, they're definitely representative of character. Like, because I think it's a Gula, like the leopard one, like straight up is Ventus, basically.
And like,
looks like Ventus.
Envy, the blue one is definitely Aqua, and fucking dumbass Aced is definitely dumbass Terra.
Yeah, it's gonna be wild. But
oh god, dude, them fighting. What's it now? 13 lights versus 7 darknesses now. That's a pretty good term. I like that. That's a pretty good term because like that new game of like I got a new game,
pretty cool.
We got it was like, which means we got a new saga coming up. We flipped the script, bitches.
In terms of Scala, one of the things, it's not a part of any of the games, but one of the things I really like about it that's really cool to me is how I think it was for the original 1.5 remix, there was like a Kingdom Hearts fan event that people went to, and they showed off this world, but they didn't have a name for it, and people like couldn't take pictures or anything, and so they called it Cable Town.
Oh, was that 1.5? I thought that was when 3. I thought that was like 3 had some concept. I mean, you might be right. I might be wrong, but I do remember the Cable Town controversy.
Yeah, it was around one of those events. Like something came out, and
I think it was 1.5, 2.5, because 1.5 seems really early for that.
It might have been. I don't know, but
that was PS3 era.
But I don't know. Yeah, I don't know when, but yeah, it was just like that whole thing where people were like had no evidence of it. And they were just talking about like this Cable Town. It's like this place.
Oh yeah, because it was like it was an exclusive event, and like people like YouTubers would describe it. Yeah, but we never saw it until
they would describe it. They would like try to draw it like how they remembered, and then we had no information of it until that final trailer, and we saw it. And everybody was like, "Holy shit! Like it's
Cable Town.
Like that's straight up it." Like that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
That like even in like even if it was as far back as like 2015 or whatever, the fact that they had an event, they were able to keep that to that level of secret that people are just saying, and it's like those people could have been making that up for all we knew.
Or like it could have been something like it could have been an earlier version of Hollow Bastion, because that kind of gives off some Scala vibes too. Well, that might be a connection. We don't fucking know.
Could be, or could have been like completely scratch, like anything. But the fact that it showed up like all that time later is so cool and just like adds to the mystique of it.
All right, so lore is 15 out of 10, obviously. The environment itself, especially in Remind, I think it's really interesting. Just but like it looks like a ghost town, but it doesn't look empty. It looks abandoned.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm wondering at which point in time Xehanort took us there, because why is it empty? Or did Xehanort just kill the whole civilization? Because Xehanort destroyed that place.
Yeah. Or is it like some kind of like portal, like like copy of it or something like that?
Well,
I don't know.
Essentially, what we do is we use the power of waking to go through Xehanort into Scala.
Yeah.
That's what you think happened too, right?
Yeah. Because they make a portal out of him, but it's like I don't know if it's like a past version, if it's like literally there in a different time or something.
I think it is.
It like a cop, or is it like how he remembers it or something like that?
Well, because we go through the other worlds to get the bodies back. Are they the real worlds? Or are they like Sora's memory of that world? No, because Sora was using worlds to get because he reversed it. I think the power of waking is using heart to get to worlds. Like if I'm in Atlantica and you're in Beast Castle and we're friends and we're connected, I can get there through you. But I think Sora he used worlds to get to hearts when he was, and that's like the reverse. That's why it's a nature taboo. And like I think it's especially bad when you do it through time travel, because Xehanort's doing it all the time and he didn't get punished. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
A little vague on that.
Yeah, I hope they'll probably dive more into like what that's supposed to be.
Yeah, in Kingdom Hearts 6.
Yeah.
All right, so back to Scala. I'm just looking at what we got here. It's definitely not S. Definitely not S.
I kind of want to put it in A.
I kind of do too.
And I think it's because while there's not a lot there yet, what is there is really cool, and there's a lot of potential.
Yeah, it's the potential, because fucking Final World, I think Final World has some potential, but I think Final World is very, very vague with what it is. We have a better idea what Scala is.
Yeah, if Final World comes back, it's gonna be mostly the same, and it's mostly gonna be for lore stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of almost sort of like the ending of Melody of Memory, where you're just kind of like there.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just lore dump and
a
boss fight kind of.
Yeah, where it's like.
But even that's like very vague of like, why is the memory of Xehanort there, even though Xehanort, is he dead, going to be reincarnated? We don't really know how death works in Kingdom Hearts at all.
But with Scala, it's like when Scala is in a game next, it's almost 100% going to be we're up in there, like
100%. It's going to be like because like there's too much stuff in it.
Like it's going to be either World That Never Was or like Hollow Bastion.
I 100% agree with that. 100% agree. So is World That Never Was, is that a world that is a nobody? Because like, what is it? I know we're going back. I just want to bring it up. What is World That Never Was? Is it just a nobody world? Because if so, what is it, based off Scala or something like that?
That's an interesting concept, because if a Heartless takes a person and they lose their heart, then they create a Heartless and they create a nobody.
Mm-hmm.
So what if the World That Never Was is like they took the heart of a world?
Yeah, because like not everyone can become a nobody. Only strong people or people strong of like soul or will can become a nobody.
With all those buildings, it was like packed.
Yeah, but like how some worlds were in the World of Darkness, it's like some people's hearts were in there, but not everyone's hearts, because some people become a nobody. So like maybe a world can be so strong that it became when it got swallowed by darkness, that it just became a nobody world, which Scala. I'm pulling this out of my ass, but it's just something cool to think about.
It is, that's interesting.
Because we don't know if Land Departure isn't Scala, we don't know what Scala is right now. Because we only saw in the past and it's destroyed.
And the name The World That Never Was does imply that like there's something going on there. Well, I don't think we know much about where it comes from.
Well, it's kind of because like they say nobodies don't really exist, kind of. So it kind of plays off that. But I think you're right. It's like, I think Scala is like what we said about Luke Sword. Scala is a Luke Sword of Kingdom Hearts worlds, pretty much. Lots of past, present, and future story things coming up with it. It's definitely coming back. Definitely. Yep. We're following them out to know more about it. We're discussing World 2, so lore isn't just implications, so it's not all that fun like S. It's not S tier. But like it could easily become S tier, like fucking Twilight Town or Hollow Bastion. It's easy. It's so close. If like we just need one more interaction with it, a good interaction with it for it to get S tier.
Yeah, I think it's going to be follow sort of the arc of like Olympus, where in Kingdom Hearts 1 you go there and it's just like a small room and you're able to do some of the like Colosseum stuff, but then like when you have 2, you get like a fully fleshed out like world you can explore, kind of the background and the other stuff with that.
Yeah, so Scala is like it was a good one to end on because I didn't put Shibuya on here because we literally know shit about
Yeah, we don't know
Shibuya,
anything about that.
so there's no use putting on here. But Scala is like the perfect one to end because it really is the representation of the future of Kingdom Hearts.
Yes.
Of how
yeah.
like it's not just fun Disney stuff anymore. It can stand on its own 2 feet. Question: if Kingdom Hearts 4 had no Disney representation at all, would you still play it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
I think
like,
I think when people talk about stuff like that, they're thinking of worlds like Twilight Town in Kingdom Hearts 2, or like Hollow Bastion, or like World That Never Was, where they're super strong and fleshed out, and you get a lot of really interesting lore. And like I think that's what people want. Like that's the stuff that's really interesting. Because even some of the poor Disney worlds, you kind of like push through in some of the games because you're like, all right, nothing's happening here, but I'm really looking forward to like getting to Keyblade Graveyard where a million things get like revealed and,
exactly.
and fleshed out.
Because like again,
that's the fun stuff.
Disney is what brought everyone into it. Disney was a bait on the hook. The story and the characters are so good and the mysteries are so good, we just like stuck to it like glue, and wherever it goes, we're gonna follow it. I don't think we'll get any Disney stuff in the next game, whether that's 4 or 3D2 or whatever. Because I think we'll get more Final Fantasy stuff, maybe World That Never Was stuff, just because it wasn't in 3 at all. I think it will just be the reverse of 3, where 3 had no Final Fantasy and all Disney. I think the next game's gonna be reverse. But I'm still down for it. I think the next game's gonna be 3D2, just because it has that fake world Sora Riku dynamic.
Yeah. I mean, it all depends on what the next game is. I think they've set up a bunch of different ones. Like they've kind of set up a 3D2. They kind of set up like a Kairi Aqua team up.
That'll happen. That'll happen.
I would like
a Kairi
game where you actually get a fight.
No,
cool.
You don't even get to fight in a boss fight as Kairi. Sora takes over her body. That's like so lame.
For some reason, I feel like I remember Nomura saying something about like after Melody of Memory came out that there is a Kairi game, but that's not it.
Sure,
Nomura.
Sure, Nomura.
But yeah, I think it depends on what the game. Because if they do something like that, or if they do like I think they're going to like they would have just Kairi go to a bunch of Disney worlds because that's just kind of how she would train with
hopefully
Aqua.
Yeah,
but
I mean we'll know in a few weeks when the event happens. That's why we're doing this in the first place.
We'll get the other interesting thing is I think they could do something really interesting even if they didn't do Disney worlds, but you still have
Disney characters.
Maleficent.
Yeah, I think Disney characters can still stay, like the important ones, like Mickey, Donald, Goofy, Maleficent, Pete. All those ones can stay because they're still relevant to the plot. I'm talking about like Disney worlds.
Yeah, because of the throughout 3, Maleficent and Peter just looking for that box, and they find it at the end of that, and they find it. That's at the graveyard, right?
Yeah, it's at the graveyard.
It'd be interesting if they like continue trying to follow them.
Oh, they definitely will. They're not done yet. They're definitely gonna be part of the next. Whenever we go back to the quote unquote real world, they'll definitely be a part of the story because, especially since they were in that ending, they're going to be important. Like if they were just not there, I would think okay, they're not going to use them anymore. But they were in that, and they were with the foretellers, so they're going to be maybe not as relevant, but still somewhat important.
I think they're going to be like the main Disney part, and I do kind of hope it returns to that Kingdom Hearts 1 level where the aspect of Kingdom Hearts 1 where you had on the original side you had Sora, and he's looking for Riku, and then you have the Ansem stuff, but then on the Disney side you have that like sort of Illuminati-esque meeting of like the Disney villains. Like that was really cool. So I think we're going to get something like that again, where you have all the foreteller stuff and the Keyblade stuff that you're worried about with the original stuff, but it's also like Maleficent and Pete are up to something kind of on the Disney side, and I think that'll be a good balance.
I agree. So that's the tier list. Maybe someday we'll get more Disney worlds to add on. Hopefully nothing in F, like these poor souls down in F. I want more top tier A worlds. How many worlds are Disney in S? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, decent Disney representation.
Yeah, it's 4 of each. 4 Disney, 4 non-Disney.
Yeah, and like those are very good worlds, and they can make good worlds. Like 3, again, I know we put fucking San Francisco in D, but I'll still take San Francisco over most of the worlds in one, to be honest.
Yeah.
In April, we won't see shit. We'll get announcements. We'll get fucking text on the screen. Is this a dream? Is this reality? Blah blah blah. Thank you, Nomura.
Yeah, I think maybe we get a trailer for like a big game, or maybe they announce some titles. But I think the big, like, I don't know. I think the biggest, most recent thing or most upcoming soon thing that we're gonna get is gonna be like the finishing of Dark Road. Maybe that comes out at the event would be
most likely. Like, hey, you can play it right now.
Yeah,
please play it right now. It's very important to the story. All right, so thank you everyone for watching. Yes. I don't know what we're going to tier list next. We might just talk about
Keyblades.
Oh, that'd be cool too. Keyblades and feet. Aquazest tier.
All right. Yeah.
Perfect note to end on.